And a good morning, Birds fans. Appreciate you streaming in here on the JAKIB Media YouTube channel to Birds 365 with your Mac and Mac guys, John McMullen and Jody McDonald. Johnny Mac, to be or not to be the starting quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles on Saturday in Dallas is the question. And both Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni tried to make us believe yesterday that Jalen Hurts has a chance to start against the Dallas Cowboys. You buying?
Nope, not at all. Not even a little bit. I get it from a coach's perspective, but I don't get it because the Eagles know how they go about it when something like this happens. You gotta there's a potential it could be the starter or the backup. Not generally, always. Maybe there's smaller differentials around the league. There definitely is. But the starter's the starter for a reason. He's better than a backup. So if you prepare for the starter, you're ready for the backup. That's how everybody approaches this. The Cowboys are going to prepare for the Eagles and Jalen Hurts. And if they do that effectively, they'll be prepared for Gardner Minshew because Jalen Hurts is a better player. Now, I get it. There's a little bit of a tweak. You're going to play a little bit differently. Probably more intermediate routes with Gardner Minshew. If you think about the Jets game last year, a lot of Dallas Goedert. I think, Dallas coming back is really important for Gardner Minshew. It's important for anybody because he's a good player. He'd be important for Jalen Hurts, but especially for Gardner Minshew. If you're ready for Jalen Hurts, you're ready for Gardner Minshew. So I get it, but I kind of don't get it. Either way, you're not playing. It's going to be Gardner Minshew in Dallas. It's a short week, too. Nobody brings that up. You have the one less day. And it just doesn't make sense to play Jalen Hurts. If you needed the football game, I believe he would play. They don't need the football game, no matter what they say. And they want to win. I'm not claiming they don't want to win, but there is that wiggle room that wouldn't have existed if Doug Peterson didn't get his Jags to come back against the Cowboys and get a bunch of free cheesesteaks for it. Yeah, that kind of tells you what the Eagles think, by the way, the free cheesesteaks.
Right.
If anybody saw it, they sent the Jags some thank you cheesesteaks.
From a cheesesteak place down in Jacksonville, specifically ordered to be sent over to the Jaguars and their coaching staff. Yes, Dougie P did the Eagles a very big solid by beating the Cowboys last week. I'm not quite the same with the whole preparation by the Cowboys thing for you. I think Doug Peterson takes it way over the top, the whole, we can get a competitive edge by playing our cards close to the vest thing. Not just this week, but Doug Peterson's been doing that since the day he was hired as the Eagles head coach.
You're talking about Doug or Nick?
What'd I say?
They both did it. Yeah, they both do it. But Nick does it more. Yeah.
Right. I was thinking Doug because he beat the Cowboys this week. No, I meant Nick Sirianni. Thanks for correcting me. Some people suggested that Nick started his entire Eagle coaching career by playing his cards close to the vest. Either that or he really didn't know if he had control of the roster or not. The first press conference we ever had, there was a question he asked. He was like, I don't know. Who controls that, Howie, you or me? So he's been playing his cards close to the vest ever since. I think he overplays his cards, but that's just me. I actually do think there's a difference between Jalen Hurts and Gardner Minshew.
Well, there's a difference. One's better than the other. I mean, there's a big difference. I'm not saying there's not a difference. I'm saying if you
they're gonna plug in Gardner Minshew, he's gonna run these same RPOs, that same amount of RPOs that Jalen.
No,
Hurts.
They're gonna certainly run less RPOs. And I mentioned,
then how are they the same? There's a big difference between the two quarterbacks.
Well, as you mentioned, I said, the intermediate game's going to be much bigger. Dallas Goedert's going to be much bigger part of it, but the offense is the same. They're not going to run as many zone reads, as many RPOs with Gardner Minshew. But again, he's a mobile guy. I think this is not a statue quarterback. This is, again, this is not Mike Glennon. You're not toggling between Jalen Hurts and Mike Glennon. They're going to run the same offense. They're not going to run it as effectively because they don't have as many options as a backup's not going to be an MVP. And I guess Eagles fans say, well, yeah, it might be because of Nick Foles, at least over a short sample size, and he can play well. And Gardner, and I expect Gardner to play relatively well. He's got a lot of experience, a lot of starts in this league. There's not too many backup quarterbacks who have a touchdown to interception ratio of 41 to 15 or whatever the heck it is. Usually the backup quarterback is a drop off a cliff. So this guy can play a little bit. And he doesn't have the skill set. My major point is, if you're prepared for Jalen Hurts, if you're prepared for Patrick Mahomes, if you're prepared for Josh Allen, and it's hard to prepare for those guys, you're prepared for the backup. That's all I'm saying. It doesn't.
I'm saying it's a little bit different when you're talking about anyone else other than Jalen Hurts. That maybe if you're preparing for Mr. Fields, who the Eagles did an okay job against last week, or Lamar Jackson. Any other quarterback who's taking over for one of the three best running quarterbacks in the National Football League, if you're the coach of the Dallas Cowboys this week, I think you have to get your players in a mindset to play differently if Jalen Hurts is the quarterback or if Gardner Minshew is the quarterback, just because of the way Jalen Hurts is capable of playing the game.
Yeah, but I guess, that would mean more to me if it were going from Gardner Minshew to Jalen Hurts, not vice versa. I think that would be a more difficult undertaking. If maybe Jalen Hurts was injured coming in, had missed a number of weeks, and Gardner had been playing, and it was 50-50 on whether he would be back. That to me is different. Going from Gardner Minshew to Jalen Hurts is different than going from Jalen Hurts to Gardner Minshew. Hurts is the more difficult one. So again, if you're ready for Hurts, you're ready for Minshew. Now, are you ready for the Eagles offense, especially the way the Dallas defense has kind of been leaking oil recently? And I know we're going to have John Bashota on from The Athletic, who covers the Cowboys. I saw their safety, J-Ron Curse, talking about, people talk up this Cowboys defense. And
365. Sorry, my picture just froze. It was weird, Johnny Mac.
Yeah, I never know. Did I crap out? Did you crap out?
No, it was me. I'm 95% sure that it was me. But usually when the video freezes, you're dead in the water. I saw that my face froze. I was trying to use my mouse on my computer, and it was going nowhere. But I could still hear you. I even commented my voice was still okay. I was verbally still part of Birds 365, but the video froze up. So dropped out. Got back on. We're ready to keep it rolling for you for the next 2+ hours. John mentioned John McMullen from The Athletic, outstanding Cowboys beat reporter, is going to join us in the second hour of today's show. Mike Gill from Down the Shore, 97.3, the Sports Pass, is going to jump in here in just a couple of minutes. Here's the question I have for you about Hurts yesterday. He said all the right things, definitely a chance. He's preparing to be ready, and this is what you have to do if you're the quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles. He did what you expected Jalen Hurts to do, which is keep possibilities open. Nick Sirianni went down the road of this guy's not like you or I. Well, I know he's not like me. That's true.
Yeah, I can't deadlift.
I'm 30 plus years older than he is. If he's anything like me, shame on Jalen Hurts. So I didn't necessarily like the phraseology that the coach used. But I get what he said, that Jalen is a tremendous athlete, and he is a guy who heals pretty damn quickly. You think this is all competitive nature? This is competitive advantage, that they're floating this out there, that they already know that Jalen Hurts isn't playing? Because it has been reflected in the betting markets. It went from the Cowboys as a point favorite up to the Cowboys as a 6.5, 7-point favorite in some places. It's back down to 5 and 4.5. So some people are believing this, Johnny Mac, that there's a chance that he could start.
Yeah, but I think at this stage, when you look at the betting markets, it's more about people betting. And you correct me if I'm wrong, Jody. When they moved the line, that was the key point to me. All right, somebody paid some money to get information early. which is not good for the NFL. But anyway, now it's about, who's betting what side, and it goes up and down. Now, maybe I'm wrong about that. You're the betting expert, not me. But from the aspect of how the Eagles handled it yesterday, I go back to last year in the Jets game. If you go back to that game, the week leading up to that game, Jalen said he was playing. Flat out said he was playing. And he ended up didn't play. This time he couched it more and said there's a chance, and was very non-committal. So that's a little bit of a foreshadowing to me, number one. Number two, Nick kind of said, we asked him, remember, yesterday was a walkthrough. And he spoke before the walkthrough. He was like, I don't know. He didn't even participate in the walkthrough. A walkthrough. So that's not a good sign.
And, oh, by the way, neither did Gardner Minshew, because he was out of town going to Mike Leach's funeral. So
Ian Book was leading the Eagles.
Ian Book took every walkthrough rep yesterday.
Yes. On December 20th, 2022, Ian Book was the leader of a 13-1 team, at least for one day. Now Gardner was he was scheduled to be back last night. I assume he was, so he'll be back today, and he'll be getting the first team reps for the rest of the week. But yeah, I mean, he didn't even participate in the walkthrough. Now, Nick did said there's no hard and fast rule. There's a lot of mentality from coaches that if you don't practice, you can't play. And guys are different. And he said guys are different. Certainly if the Jason Kelce's and the Lane Johnsons are dealing with something, Fletcher Cox, all the rest players we know that have been through this, the entire maintenance year, the maintenance day for all the veterans, and even some of the younger players like Josh Sweat who have injury histories in their past. If those guys were banged up, would they be able to play if they didn't practice? Case by case basis. And certainly Jalen has built up some equity by the way he's played. But at the end of the day, it doesn't make any sense to put him at risk. We talked a lot about risk yesterday. Everybody criticizing the coaching staff for how many runs they used on Jalen Hurts. And by the way, I think that was the headline of the press conference, because that touched a nerve with Nick. You know how you touch a nerve with Nick? He gets in the weeds and he explains something really meticulously. And he explained the number of carries and the number of design carries, which in his mind was two in his mind. So he got 17 down to two. And got in the weeds to explain it. So some of the criticism.
Well, one of which was the touchdown run, the designed right up the middle 20-yard jaunt to get him in. What was the other one play that he considered a Jalen Hurts run?
Well, I went through the game and I looked at the 17. They're when Jalen checked, he actually was 2 or 3, because he checked the 2 runs that were design runs, and there was another design run. So really, he said 2, but really it was 3. So then you had one of Nick's favorite phrases, Jody, is a wise man avoids all extremes. So this is an interesting debate for me, because I think both sides are so disingenuous. I don't know if it's on purpose. I don't think it's on purpose. But if you hear people say 17 carries is not enough, I mean, those people are ignoring the kneel downs and the quarterback sneaks, which we have decades of. That's not a dangerous play. Again,
except, did you remember this? Someone I talked about on WIP last night. I said I couldn't even remember a quarterback.
I can't remember.
Patrick Mahomes, just 3 years ago, broke his kneecap on a quarterback sneak.
Did he? Yeah. I assumed, and I always say, I assume somebody somewhere got hurt on the quarterback sneak. I don't remember.
Pretty important one, Patrick Mahomes.
But Jody, it's a football play. So evidently they've been playing football for a long time. So I'm sure there's been more than Patrick Mahomes actually. But when you do the percentage wise, it's not a dangerous play. Again, the disingenuousness of pointing out one outlier, even an outlier on a superstar, it's not a dangerous play. But it's not. No, any way you shake it. Again, there's decades of injury data, and people say, "Hey, Patrick Mahomes in 2019, whatever year it was. All right, give me another one. Give me another one." You got to have more than one.
All right, but now I think you're being a little disingenuous. How many quarterback sneaks are there in a game? In an NFL game, there are 70 plays from 80 plays from scrimmage. How many of them are quarterback sneaks? So to merit comparison to the other ones, you'd have to say, yeah, but they almost never run quarterback sneaks. So if you get hurt, Mahomes got hurt badly in just 3 years ago. How many quarterback sneaks were there percentage-wise in overall plays in the NFL?
Well, if you want to say whatever, 2 a game, I don't know, but 2 a game over 50, 70 years, that's still a large sample size. And there's more than 2. There's never been more quarterback sneaks than there is in this game, because the modern game I'm talking about, because some teams have been, including the Eagles, have been so successful with it. And now they allow you to push the quarterback forward. They changed that rule.
The number is definitely up this year with everyone allowing the quarterback to basically be lifted and carried until he gets a first down.